Mr. Zubimendi back in again. How are we, Fake Martin? How are we? Zubi! How are we, mate? Welcome in. Thank you for your super chat. Appreciate you. So look, my information is if Liverpool agree the deal financially with Sociedad, this moves quickly. Now Liverpool could just get to the point where they go, okay, trigger the clause. That's what this is about. That's the delay as far as I'm aware. You know, we've seen other journalists, I say other, sorry, I'm not a journalist. We've seen journalists backtrack on stuff they've said yesterday. For instance, Plettenberg yesterday was saying that the player has already basically committed to coming to Liverpool. Now today, whoever runs his account, whether it's him or somebody else, is starting to backtrack on it a little bit. This is what he said over the last hour or so. Understand that Real Sociedad have been officially informed that Liverpool is very interested in Martín Zubimendi. That's why there are concrete and ongoing talks between Liverpool and the player and his management with permission from Real Sociedad. They do say no club-to-club talks at this stage and that the 25-year-old hasn't informed Sociedad of his decision yet. On top of that, we have Mundo Deportivo, who said Liverpool have communicated to Real Sociedad that they are ready to pay Martín Zubimendi's £51 million or €60 million release clause. It seems like the Reds might have gotten tired of negotiating on possible different structures and just want to get the deal done. Now again, I'm going to ask you, if you're Liverpool and you haven't gotten the nod from the player, why would you do that? You'd only trigger the clause knowing that the player is going to come. So if that is true, and again, I can't stand over the story from Mundo Deportivo, I don't know. But everything is lining up that it's just a matter of structuring this rather than waiting for anything else. If the player had gotten cold feet, he'd have got it by now and he'd have said no. He's been turned by the idea of coming to Liverpool and following on the footsteps of Xabi Alonso. Everything else is just noise at this moment in time and a really difficult wait for us Liverpool fans. Getting bored of this transfer now. I can see us saying we tried but couldn't get terms agreed again. Look, mate, I get it. I'm not here to belittle anybody unless they come in and be an asshole. I get it. You know, we do have PTSD of this type of stuff happening. We had the Caicedo stuff last summer. We had the Lavia stuff last summer. I'm not here to mock anybody who's anxious. Not at all. I understand it. And with these owners being the cheap SOBs that they are, I understand where you're coming from. I'm just relaxed about it because I have faith in the people who've been telling me what they're telling me. That's all I can say. Bellingham, here we go. Caicedo, here we go. Lavia, here we go. Heard it all before. Cool. Then you won't need to hear it again, Adam, so fuck off elsewhere. And by the way, I certainly didn't give any of those here we goes. I did stick with the Bellingham story all summer, but it wasn't me that gave the here we go on Caicedo. Liverpool won the bidding process. You know, we did our part. After that, the player made his mind up. Lavia, I don't ever remember anybody, and I mean anybody, saying here we go on Lavia. So you've just pulled that out your arse just to, I don't know, make your anger feel a bit better. Mate, this type of behaviour in the real life is going to lead to a lot of people getting slaps in the face. You don't go around being that way in real life to anyone. So you do you, bro. You do you. But, you know, you don't just get to make stuff up to be angry about. Oh, Mbappe, here we goes. I've had enough of it. Haaland, here we goes. I've had enough of it. You know, let's just talk about shit that actually happened. Daniel, thank you for your super chat, my friend. Said, some Liverpool fans remind me of junkies who are looking for the next high, which is why they can't be patient during the transfer window. Always complaining about the here we go. I can't lie and say I'm not anxious, my friend Daniel. I am. I'm anxious, but I'm also confident in what people have told me. But I'm not confident about the centre-back situation or what forwards we're going after, because at the moment I haven't got a clue outside of our well-documented interest in Anthony Gordon. The problem is not selling Carvalho. The issue is we're not getting anyone. Well, I've just told you we're going to sign Zubimendi. You know, do with that as you want, but look, this is where I get a little bit confused, right? Because all summer I was the one who was being unreasonable, right? All summer everybody was going in on me saying, listen, you were told it's going to be August. Listen to Richard Hughes. You were told what's going to happen. Then it comes to August and I'm relatively calm, and now I'm getting shouted at for being calm. You know what I mean? It's a kind of a no-win here for me. I can either tell you the bits and pieces I hear or I can't. But outside of that, mate, I don't know what to say. Craig Connor said, I'm unsettled because of Lavia Caicedo. Again, totally understandable, my namesake friend. But just, if I could try and ease your mind a little bit, it was very different people behind the scenes last year. So it was George Schmadtke and Jurgen that were taking care of transfers at that point. Now we've got Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes. And I think without these two men, we don't get a sniff at Zubimendi. But because of that relationship Richard Hughes has with Zubimendi's agent, because he's the same agent, obviously, that helped bring the Iriola manager from Rayo Vallecano over to Bournemouth. Also, Xavi Alonso shares an agent with Zubimendi. So from that side, Liverpool are well placed. And I don't think that Carvalho or any of these other players are going to be let go unless Liverpool know what's going to happen. So it's going to be one of those bus situations, I think, where we see a few things happen quickly. But you are all understandably frustrated. Don't get me wrong. This is starting to get to Saga territory right now, and none of us want another transfer saga. We all want a positive outcome quickly because we all want that. I can't think of a better word I'm about to say than release. We'll get Zubimendi and Gordon, but that might be the craft beer talking. Enjoy it. Look, it wouldn't be the worst of windows, that, but it still wouldn't really give us the cover at centre-back. I'm waiting for an indication on Joe Gomez's future as well, because that might tell us how far along we are in the centre-back search. I can't imagine a world where we let Joe Gomez go and don't have a replacement lined up. He's been roughly linked with Villa, but Villa apparently have two other first options. I think Chalobah, one of them, and who's the other one Villa were looking at? I know they need to move on Diego Carlos, but there was a couple of other centre-backs that they were looking at. So, yeah, again, I can't see Liverpool selling Gomez unless we have a replacement ready and lined up. Russ, this transfer is dragging. It is, mate, but I guess it's what happens at the end of it that's the important part, right? You know, but you are right, of course. We all want the positive outcome as quickly as possible here. And looking back to last summer, if we had the same people involved at the club, I would be concerned. And as I said to my namesake earlier on, I totally understand how the Caicedo and Lavia stuff, it scarred me. I mean, just go back and look how happy I was when we outbid Chelsea for Caicedo. I thought we were winning the league. Like, I was getting into nips out territory there. And Eddie has said, when do you think we're going to hear deal agreed? It depends what you mean by deal agreed. I think by the end of tomorrow, Liverpool are going to make a decision on how they pay for Zubimendi. But from the other side of it, again, I don't think you get a week into a negotiation or so with a player unless you're getting very positive vibes, which tally with what I've been told, which again is that the player wants the move. But of course, they also, as the selling club, have to make it look like they're doing everything in their power to keep their star boy. They can't just look like they've rolled over. So they've done everything. They've done the guilt tripping. They've tried to offer him more money than Orlathabal, who was their highest paid player previously. And none of that has convinced him to stay. So any, I think, rational person would think to themselves, okay, clearly the player's not getting cold feet. In fact, if I'm the player, I'm probably getting annoyed at this point with the change of stance from we won't stand in the player's way if he informs us that he wants to leave to the guilt tripping. I just always said I don't want the youngster to be vilified. I hope he leaves Sociedad on good terms with that fan base because I'm sure the club means a hell of a lot to the kid.